Let's start with this biography about Marie Curie. In these days of COVID-19, it's such an amazing career to be in the healthcare industry. Whether you are a doctor, a nurse, you work in labs, you're a scientist, you're the person who's making sure that it's not spreading by working but clean up the place, the hospitals, the areas. Let's start with, we need to find a cure. We need to find a vaccination. This is a great career for any of us to think about going into. Anyway, Marie Curie, her earliest memories was being fascinated by scientific instruments in her father's cabinet. She taught herself to read when she was only 4. In Warsaw, Poland, where she grew up, the Russians occupied the country. The school officials and teachers were angry if anyone spoke Polish, so she was very careful to speak only Russian. But she loved learning, especially reading her father's physics books. She was devastated when her older sister died of typhoid fever and the mother died of tuberculosis. She took over many of the household duties as she grew up. Girls in Poland weren't allowed to go to college, so Marie and her older sister decided to help each other get an education. Marie worked as a governess while her sister studied in Paris, and then her sister helped her go to school. When Marie first got to Paris, she changed her name from Maria to Marie, and she worked extra hard to remember French so she could do well at school. She caught up in her studies and graduated first in her class in physics and got a second degree in mathematics. At the Sorbonne University, she met Pierre Curie, another physicist. They fell in love and they were married. Marie continued to study and do research. She began to investigate the invisible energy of the elements uranium and thorium. She knew that pitch blend, a black ore, contained both ingredients, and she got several tons of it. And she went to work. Pierre, he joined her in her research, and they isolated radioactive energy in polonium and radium, mineral elements that were discovered by Marie. The laboratory was in an old building. A visiting scientist called it a cross between a stable and a potato cellar. But Marie and Pierre didn't care. They loved being together and doing their research. In 1903, the Curies, they received the Nobel Prize in physics. Marie was the first woman to receive this award. But 3 years later, Pierre was killed by a heavy horse cart as he stepped off the curb in the busy Paris street. She was grief-stricken. There was no one to teach Pierre's classes at the Sorbonne University, so she taught them herself. She was the first woman to teach at the university. She continued her research and received a second Nobel Prize in 1911 for chemistry, the first person to receive that prize twice. Her incredible work didn't just happen in the laboratory. During World War I, she wanted to help defend her country. So she put her research on hold and set out to designing mobile X-ray units that could be taken out on the field and driven to the front lines of battle to help treat the wounded soldiers. She drove one of the cars herself, helping to examine the soldiers with bullets and broken bones. She set up X-rays in the field hospitals. She even tried to melt her own metals so she could help the war effort. Through her efforts, more than 1 million soldiers were helped during the war. Women everywhere revere Marie for her pioneering work in science at a time when women weren't allowed. Now many women follow her intelligent, compassionate footsteps to make a world a better place through scientific exploration. Once she said, "Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so we may fear less." I think that's a great quote for us today.